Good man. Hello? Ah, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey!
Hi.
How are you guys?
I'm
Good.
very excited to be with you today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited with you guys. All the videos you guys have all been posting have been so cool and so amazing. And the things that you guys do with your legs, I can't even begin to wrap my brain around. Oh my gosh. And that picture, the inverted table thing with your head. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know why people like this thing a lot. Yeah, yeah, okay. We have to post more things like this.
They're
Um,
awesome.
¿Puedes coger el iPad un segundo, por favor? Okay, Jason, is this it looks like a nice field. What are you?
Yes, this is my basement. Or I'm home at my parents' house, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah. So it's just
But
like
okay,
we moved
okay.
some things around. We moved things out of the way so I could kind
Wow,
of
just
have
for
a
you
little
for
bit
to
of
train.
space to train.
Okay. That's great. We have some questions for you. We would like to open this questions and answer session. And how are you, first of all? How are you doing? This is my
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, this time has been super, super bizarre, but I've really enjoyed being with my family. I think that's been the best part of this whole thing. I haven't lived at home for like 7 years. So now being back, and I'm with my siblings as well here. So that's been really nice. But besides that, it's just been training, doing off-ice sessions, working with my coaches, trying to stay in shape. It's such a bizarre time because generally when I, take a break, I take a break. And now we're in this period of time where it's like we're actually supposed to, we're not injured, we're okay, but like at the same time we're like we need to train and keep working. But it's this weird balance.
Yeah, same than us. I don't know how you guys feel exactly. If you feel exactly the same, I have this sensation also. And when you can come back, do you have a date or it's unknown for you?
So things are supposed to open up this week, like at the end of the week. We're supposed to. So in Canada, at the rink that I skate at, they just opened it on Wednesday, but only 5 people are allowed in the rink at once. So it's like 1 coach and 4 skaters, or 2 coaches and 3 skaters. So I think they're trying to decide how to kind of manage it and which skaters. So it's a little weird, but I think you guys are located in California.
Yes. So
Like I
North
know, like every
California.
state here is so different. So like I live like 30 minutes away from the Wisconsin border, and Wisconsin's like fully open. But like Chicago, I live in like the Chicago area, but Illinois is closed. So it's a very interesting, so kind of trying to figure out the best way to do it safely, and all things are
Yeah.
limited, but
Okay.
I can at least
Okay.
maybe see the end, or see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it's been we've been here like 74 days today. Tomorrow is our last day of practice before vacation. Yeah, it
Oh
was
my
going to be
god.
2 weeks, and look.
Do you get
Yeah,
a vacation?
yeah,
Will you get some
75.
time off?
We will do now some vacation. Yes.
Oh, nice. I know
Yeah.
it's not the vacation you guys hope for,
Yeah.
but
Better than 1 month ago at least. Hmm.
hmm for
Yeah.
sure. And are you guys all in California, or do you all train across different parts of the country?
Who wants to answer?
I would, but I don't think you can hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear
You can?
you.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're from all over the country, but we train in like the Bay Area, in San Francisco Bay Area. But some people are home right now.
Gotcha. And
other
so
people
during the
are-
season, do you all, or I guess I don't know how long the season is for you guys. Do you stay there all but the 2 weeks that you have off typically, or?
Usually we're here the whole time. Sometimes like for holidays, or if we have a little break, people will go home for like short amount of time. But for the most part, it's like pretty much year round, right?
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
It's amazing. And
Yeah.
do you get recruited or do you try out? Like, do you, I know now, sorry, I'm so curious. I find this so amazing. Do you get recruited? Do you try out? Is it like you have all these club teams and then like Andrea will be like, oh, you're awesome. I want you on the team. Or like,
You're awesome.
yeah, like,
Okay.
oh my God, you look the best. Like, how do you get selected to like join the national team?
Okay, Danny, you want to talk? I see
Me?
you like this. I don't know, you were like
No, sorry, I was just laughing. It was I don't know if anyone really gets recruited. You usually just go to tryouts, and to get to tryouts, like when you're younger, you have to like place within like a certain number at nationals. So that's how it usually goes. But now Andrea's here, and we haven't had a trial since she's came. So we'll see. Everything's gonna change soon.
Oh my gosh. How recent? How recent did you come?
1.5 years now.
Wow.
It's short. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you try out, you try out solo? Like
Yeah.
on your own?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's unbelievable.
Guys, you can start with your questions for him. We can do like this, both questions.
Can I just start with the same question back? Like, how do you guys get picked? Or like, do you try out, or is it like through nationals and stuff, and then you get like?
Yeah, it's kind of through like we have a qualifying season. So there's 5 levels that go to nationals. Late, I guess this year they cut it down to 2, like the top 2 levels go to nationals. But for the sake of understanding, I guess it's better to say, so if there's 5 national levels, and then like it's juvenile, and then we have intermediate, novice, junior, and senior. And junior, senior are the international levels. So that would be like the World Junior Championships and Junior Grand Prix and international events as a junior. And then you have the senior events, which leads to Worlds, the Olympics. And so basically we get, I guess, kind of like, I don't want to say recruited, but based on how we score and how we place, we kind of get recognized at the lower level and kind of get put into like, kind of like a development team. And like, we're kind of being watched and followed. And then as we do better and better, how we progress, that kind of leads, I guess it kind of funnels into fewer and fewer people. And then when we get kind of the best novices, so like the level before junior, that's when they really start to, I don't want to say push you in certain directions, but kind of, start to say, okay, we want to send you out soon. And like, and it's basically we start trying out, not try out, but they start sending us to events. And depending on how we do, they'll send us out again, or they'll, kind of be put sidelined and just have to keep proving ourselves on the national level.
That's very interesting. Actually, I like it much more than just one day you come and we decide. It's much more, you see the continuity and the progression. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're trying really hard right now to make it a body of work. I think it used to be much more about like one event will kind of propel you. And now I think they're trying to kind of look at how you've done and how you're progressing over the season and who has longevity. And they're looking at so many other factors about like who to push or who to, I guess, such a weird concept to think invest money into, or like who to like kind of fund that way. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Juliana. Thank you. Next question.
I have a question. Can I ask it?
Yes.
Okay. So like, because figure skating is like an individual sport, do you guys like everyone like the national team like train together, or do you just like have your own like coaches around the country?
So yeah, we all have different coaches. So a lot of the top coaches, I don't know if it's the same obviously in synchro, I guess you all have your head coach, but I don't know. So for us, a lot of the top coaches in the world just happen to have a lot of great skaters, or other top level skaters gravitate towards them. But that doesn't have to be the case. So everyone can have their own individual coach, and your own individual coach gets sent. So like in skating, or in US skating, for example, like there could be 5 skaters and and everyone has a different coach, and every single individual coach will get sent to the competition or to the event. So the teams can get pretty big, I guess, in that sense. But a lot of times, the top U.S. coach might have 3-4 skaters, and then they're kind of our camp set up in that way, or like hubs, I guess you can say, of like where like the training hubs are. So that's definitely, and then there's just scattered around, but it doesn't have to be that way. But yeah, everyone just has their own individual coach. Yeah. Do you guys all have your own individual coach before you get on the national team? Like Andrea, would you ever coach just individual people, or it's just the team? Like it's just once it's the team.
Well, we all came from separate like club teams around the country, so we just trained with different like teams and different coaches, I guess, before. And then the national team coaches are pretty much always different nowadays. In the past, they used to be like club team coaches that would become national team coaches,
but not your own coach wouldn't like then go and become a national team coach.
No.
Gotcha. You have to say goodbye. Aw. Gotcha.
I'm gonna ask something.
Oh, you can go.
Okay. First of all, hi. I was like super obsessed with you during the Sochi Olympics. I like memorized.
Really? Hi, Nicole.
I like my mom. If I tell my mom doesn't work right now, but like we would watch your like skate, and the dude would be like, and this is his favorite part, and it was just really cool. But I think through the Sochi Olympics, you kind of like catapulted to be America's like sweetheart, because like everybody fell in love with you. What was that like? Because that must have been such a cool like, I don't know, feeling, just going to compete and then becoming like everybody's favorite person.
No, to be honest, it was all very surreal, the Olympic experience for me. I think you guys have a little bit of when you're going to go to the Olympics, I assume, right? The team knows once you qualify, whether it's a year before or 6 months.
Yeah.
So we find out 3 weeks before.
Oh my God.
So 3 weeks before we have our US championships, and then from there they select the Olympic team. So that part in itself was like 3 weeks earlier, my best placement at nationals the year before was 8th place. So my mindset was like, and it was my first year senior internationally. So I had never been to like a world championships. And so in my head, I just remember being like, I just want to like medal at nationals. Like, I just like, well, how cool would it be if I got on the podium at nationals? And we only had 2 spots for the Olympics for the men. And so I skated at nationals. I was like in 3rd place after the short program. And then I was like, oh my God, I could medal. It's like, just like stay where you are. And I ended up 2nd overall and got a spot on the Olympic team. So like that was so surreal. And then realizing that it was in 3 weeks. So it's kind of like this weird, like I had to like flip the switch, like realizing like, oh my gosh, I just worked so hard for nationals. And then realizing in 3 weeks, it's like at the Olympic Games. Like that concept to wrap my brain around was so crazy. And so that was more of where my like attention was when I was younger. It was just like, I didn't quite understand what was going on. I mean, I understood that like the Olympics are incredible, and the atmosphere there and the people and the Olympic Village is amazing, and the rink. I mean, just seeing the Olympic rings, on the ice surface is beyond surreal and amazing. But I do have to say that the understanding of like what was going on or what people were seeing back at home, I had no idea. Like it was very interesting to come. I remember being in the Olympic Village and coming back, and I was like talking to like Michaela Schifrin, who's a skier, in just like in the dining hall. And it was just meeting her as a person. She hadn't competed yet. I didn't really know. Like we were just, oh, you're the skier, kind of getting to know her. And when I got home, it was like she was on Sports Illustrated and she was like on all these magazines, and I had no idea that like that like. So I think it's the same when I think you're in this little bubble at the Olympics that you don't really realize what's getting kind of shown or what people are seeing from home. So it really wasn't until you return back home that you like really realize what's going on, or what's been shown, or how they're, you know, what's being taped and what isn't being taped, and which camera is going where, and what interview you did is being broadcasted to what network. You just have no idea. And then you come home and it's a different story. But so it wasn't really me.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, anytime. Thank you. Thanks for the support.
What made you fall in love with the sport?
I have to say, so at the beginning, I fell in love with skating because of my coach. So I was just weird kind of story of how I got into skating. My sister, when she was in kindergarten, was invited to a skating birthday party. And my parents decided to put her and myself in lessons just so that we would know how to skate if we got invited to a skating birthday party again. So they were like, we just want you. My parents were like those parents that were like, I just want to drop you off and not feel like a bad parent for like dropping a kid off at a skating birthday and like, their kid has never been on the ice. And like, they just wanted to feel like they were, you know, adequate parents and did that. So that's how I got into it. And then the coach that I just started with and who I've been with and who I was with for 18 years, just by chance ended up sticking with her, which is another really amazing thing. But I just really enjoyed like the time that I spent with her. So I really thought like, you know, whether it was picking stuffed animals up off the ice as a game, or, you know, taking any type of like, I really thought we were having a play date. And we were just, you know, it was like that kind of love progressed, and just like, oh my God, I want to hang out with Corey. Like, oh my God, I felt like a cool, you know, 5-year-old hanging out with this 20-something-year-old like coach, like, ooh, like I can't wait. Like, and she always made it really fun and engaging. So I fell in love with that. And then as I progressed, I did a lot of sports. I like played, like I was on travel soccer, and I did a lot of theater. In school, I ran cross country. I was on a baseball team. So I did a lot growing up, and it wasn't until probably like I was like really in like 7th grade, and I was progressing in all these sports in a different way and a different rate, but just really enjoying it all. And I was in 7th grade, and my travel soccer team, like we were in the finals of a tournament and we lost. And I looked around, and like my team was like super defeated. They were super upset. And I just remember looking at them and being like, guys, it's a soccer game. like, guys, like, I don't get it. Like, okay, it's like, okay, it's a soccer game. Like, who cares? But then the next weekend, I like went to a skating competition. There's like 5 people in the stands, like a local skating competition. It's just my parents and a couple friends in the stands. I'm like competing against like 4 other people. Like, I'm terrified, like, but so excited, but like terrified in the sense of like I've worked so hard and I wanted to like do my best. And I remember getting off the ice, and I maybe missed like 1 or 2 jumps, you know, or made a couple mistakes, and I was so upset and I was so devastated. And there was just like this light bulb that went off in my head, being like, oh my gosh, this is how the people in soccer feel, or this is how, like, when you have a passion and you want to work towards something. And it was my first kind of realization of like, whoa, like this is something more, and this is something I actually love, and I want to kind of do whatever I can to keep harnessing that love and keep growing in this sport, and kind of growing as a skater and keep improving, and I want to keep getting to the next level. Before that, it was just like I just loved working with my coach, and I loved progressing. I mean, I think there's something really great about just like in any sport, just keep building on the skills that you have, and that was amazing. But it wasn't until that next key piece of like that realization of like, whoa, I actually like love this, and like there's a part of me that like, you know, really wants something from this, and I really have bigger goals. You know, I thought it was the same as soccer. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm okay at soccer, you know, and then it, you know, but I didn't have the emotional attachment the way that I did with skating. And so the other sports kind of, once I started high school, the others I really just stuck with, and it was like my sole focus was on skating. Yeah. Do you guys have any interesting stories about how you got into synchro or artistic swimming? I don't know which. Either
one.
I apologize.
It's okay. We do the same thing, honestly. We're like,
like what? Like, were you guys swimmers first? Did you think of it more of like gymnastics? Like, I just think of like artistic swimming as such an incredible blend of so many like sports. that like what was, I guess, what did you get drawn to, or what did you start more in the swimming aspect or gymnastics or performance? Like it's, I mean, do you guys have like all really good lungs? Like what?
Let's start that way, definitely.
Are you good with being upside down?
Go ahead, girls.
There was a parade in front of my house, and they were advertising a summer camp to try synchro. So then I did this like week-long summer camp, and I was so excited about it. And I asked, because they had like different locations in the Bay Area, so I asked my mom if I could do the next week summer camp again, and she was like, again, the same thing? And I was like, yes. And then we drove like every day for like an hour and a half to get to this different location, because the first one was like in my town, and the second one was like the town over. And then after that I was like, can I join the club team? And she was like, okay. And that's how I started.
Wow, that's amazing.
I started when my mom used to do synchronized swimming, because it was part of her high school. Like they had like a class for synchronized swimming. It was like part of high school. So she had a high school synchronized swimming team, and then she did that for her whole high school. And then like she was old, I guess, like 30, and I was like 7, and she got a call that her old coach had died, and that the team was gonna fall apart basically because they don't have a coach to coach them. So then she got offered the job to coach that team. So then she started coaching her old team, and then she made me join, and I joined, and then I fell in love with it.
That's amazing. Oh, what about you, Andrea?
Me, it's because my more or less like you, my coach was like from the beginning, it was my coach during the whole period, but she was in a club, and she like synchro was not so popular in Spain than what is now. It was like 20 something years ago, and she went to all the schools around the club to just show videos of what was synchronized swimming. And I didn't have any idea of what was it. I was doing gymnastics before, and another actually figure skating, but in wheels, not ice.
Wow.
And all the artistic sports I did, and then I was like starting with my sister, and got serious with more synchro gymnastics, because the coach was too hard.
Yeah.
On gymnastics. She was yelling the whole time. I was like, no, the whole life like this, no. But I went to synchro. It was better in synchro than gymnastics. So imagine.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And I don't know about the other ones.
I started with ballet when I was younger, and then I got into speed swimming and gymnastics, and then one year we were watching, like my dad and I were watching TV, and he goes, I dare you to do that. And I was like, okay. And so we literally looked up like a team close to our house, and then I joined, and now I'm here. So
what?
Crazy. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Oh my God. Do you and your dad like laugh about it all the time?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. And I know this is like little off, but how many people are on a team that compete? Like when, I know there's the two, like one, and then there's 8.
Yeah, so we usually have like around 10 people, and there's 2 alternates, 8 compete, then a duet is 2, and a solo is 1.
Gotcha. Wow. Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Jason, when you do a choreography, how do you start the process? You choose the music, you just have a signal from somewhere that says go this, or it's your coach? How you start the process?
Yeah, a mix of both. So sometimes so like for me, I'll work with a choreographer, and so there's generally like the 3 of us. So there's the coach, and then the choreographer, and the skater. So, and then we'll kind of discuss different directions we want to take it, what we want to try. When I was younger, it was always about like pushing the artistic boundaries. So like one year I'd try Latin, and the next year I'd do contemporary, and the next year I'd do, a blues number, and keep trying to mix it up. But really we did a lot of interping. So like playing like different genres of music, and then me just like having to be at the center of the ice and just like try to move and like just express like how I would interpret the music. And I'd skate around that way. And so sometimes we get kind of music ideas that way, and like they'll see like, oh, this looks good on you, or this, you know, we want to build and work harder to get you comfortable in this direction. So we want to do a program that will push you in that direction. But it really goes, the choreographer typically will bring the skater music that they want to do, and then, but the skater really has kind of the veto power of like being like, no, we do our programs for an entire year. So, you know, it would be tough to just train every single day and do a piece of music, or, you know, do you have a program that you hate? So you try like, you're really committed to that piece of music for the year and to work through it and kind of develop it. So as I've gotten older, I've had more and more say in the music, and I've had more of an opinion of like what I would like to do or the direction I'd like to go. But when I was younger, it was a lot more of the choreographer just saying, giving me like, you know, maybe 3 pieces of music and which one do you like best? And then I would just choose out of it, and then we'd start developing a program and they would kind of choreograph it. Yeah.
What's your favorite?
No, go for it. No worries.
What is your favorite song to dance or move to?
I have to say, for skating, I like Sam Smith is just great, like lyrical movement music. So I have to say, like, I'm a little biased to that, just because I love that genre, and I think when you get onto the ice and the flow and the expression, a lot of his pieces just like have a lot of the ups and downs, and it builds. So I would have to say, like, if I had to pinpoint like a genre, I guess I would go in like more of a Sam Smith direction. But that's also more of my comfort zone, like more of something that like I feel like I could just like, someone can play a piece of music and I'd be like, okay, I can create something to this, or I can move well to this and not be concerned. But I have to say, like, I love Latin. I'm not great at it, but I love like working on it and learning new styles. I did like a Bollywood type of a theme once that I thought was really fun. I think just one of the cool parts about any type of a performance sport is that like we get to try different styles and like be people or do things that like we as like individuals aren't, but then we get to like play a character and we get to like do and become something else. And I love that. And I love that outlet of it. So I try my best to just like keep exploring and keep pushing in different directions. Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. Are you using the theater techniques that you did before and you like what's you brought from theater that is helping you?
I think for me, so like there's the performance aspect of the sport is so crucial, and like making eye contact with the judges, just like, and the audience, and making sure that like you bring them in. And so that's been really crucial for like, after like with all the theater that I was doing, is like obviously you're drawing in and you're communicating that way through your voice, but still your actions are you know, it's like kind of like how people say like actions speak louder than words. I mean, I think it's like that same type of thing when you bring it to the ice. You can't speak, so like your actions need to speak louder than words, and you need to kind of emote and project and make sure that like even the people at the top of the, you know, the stadium can feel, you know, whatever type of emotion that you're going for, just as much as like the person in the front row. So I try really hard to do that. I think especially when you're on something that's just different about being on a stage is that it's already elevated. So like when I remember being on theater, it was so easy to kind of feel like I don't say easy, but you didn't have to think as much about projecting, because like you could look up or in any direction and there's always people below you and above you. So it was like really cool. Where on the ice, everyone is just up, you know, and for me, I guess in the pool as well, like no matter what you're doing, you're below everyone and you're trying to like, you know, bring people in from all around you. So I think that then that projection has helped a lot. Yeah. And just expressing outward.
When you're competing, you can go.
Go, Lindy.
Okay. When you're like competing or performing, because like for us, I imagine it's kind of similar for you, but with like the jumps or the spins, or when you have something that's more like technically difficult, do you kind of like shut off the performance aspect, or do you just like keep it the whole time?
Yeah, I think it's a balance of both. So I've actually worked with like a couple different coaches where they've actually approach it very differently. So I've worked with coaches where it's I've worked with coaches where they want me to train like so repetitively, like of that certain, let's just say we'll warm up. For us, it'll be like the whole entire entry into the jump, and then like let's just say 10 seconds out of the jump. So I don't know if it's the same through like a synchro technical artistic move, but it's for us, like we'll train all the steps that you do in your program going in and then going out of the element. So some coaches that I've worked with look at it as like that is one. So like don't shut it off. Don't kind of the whole entry and the whole exit through the jump. It's all one element. But I've also and I can do that if I'm extremely trained. So if I have the reps in and it's like I've run this section a million times over and over, I've done it when I'm tired, I've done it, you know, and you just keep doing it and as an entirety, I'm able to do it, and I kind of look at it as one. And so just like the skating going into it is I'm already like know that this is part of the element. But if I'm not as prepared, or I'm learning a new element, or there's something that needs more focus, it will be, I guess, choreographed, that it's like you have the choreography and then you kind of shut it off and you're like, I have to get the job done. You got it done. It is what it is, good or bad. And you continue on and then you pick it back up. So I have kind of done it both ways. Ideally, I think in our performance aspect, obviously want there to be it just continuous and like effortless throughout. But for the most part, when you're trying new things or you're, you know, pushing yourself, or, you know, I might not feel that I'm doing something continuous until like my final last 2 events of the year. So it might be like most of the season, I'm really like reset, focus, get the job done. Okay, now I can move on, and then reset, focus. And then, you know, 6 months later when I'm at, you know, nationals, and then our event is like 4 continents and worlds, those last 3 big events, it's more of like, okay, like it's just one program, and from start to finish, it feels like it just molds and it blends. And I'm not as, oh no, here it comes, like unfocused, reattach. It just becomes part of the performance. Yeah.
Before a performance, are you like usually, or probably like as you've gotten older, it's gotten better, but like, do you ever get extremely nervous, or are you just like excited to perform?
I've been on all this, like the entire spectrum. I've been like really excited, feeling great. I've been terrified. Please don't send me out there. Like, please don't let me go out there. I'm not ready. Like, terrified. Like that. And that's the worst. I mean, having to go out in front of tens of thousands of people when you're like, as an athlete, being like, I have no idea what's going to happen. Like, or you're like shaking and you're like, I don't know why, but like, so yes, I've dealt with a lot of nerves, and it not my favorite by any means. But I would have to say, like, for me, I find confidence in repetition and knowing that I could do my program in any state. So like for me, it would be like, if I was exhausted, I've trained my program exhausted, so I know I can get through it. If I'm, you know, I've trained it up and down and forward and back and every single element. So I'm always most confident knowing that if I miss any element, I can get up and resume like nothing would happen. There's a lot of times where like I do my first element, and if it was off, like the whole program would spiral. And there was like nothing I could do about it because I just wasn't trained enough, or I had that, like, it would just like take all the energy out of me, and I'd be like, oh no, like there's no way I'm coming back from it. And those times I'm just typically the most nervous. It's actually kind of bizarre because I would have thought that, you know, I'd be less nervous for local events, or, you know, events like Worlds and nationals, or like I said, like a local event. Like every event I can end up getting just as nervous for. It's just about how prepared I am if the nerves become more of an excitement than terrified. Because I've done local events where I was way more nervous because they're typically at the beginning of the year where you're not, you know, you're not as trained, but you're trying new things, but you have that, oh my God, I'm not trained, and if I miss something, which typically will happen, you're like, it just goes downhill, and you're spending the next 3.5 minutes trying to catch up or trying to like still perform, where, you know, at Worlds, and hopefully at that time, typically, I'm at that place where I'm able to, I'm not as concerned, because no matter what happens, I know I'm trained and I have the endurance to keep pushing through, and it won't affect the next element that I do. And I'm able to kind of look at them individually, rather than like, it's just gonna go downhill from here.
I kind of have a question, because since it is an individual sport, if you have like, an element and you fall, I always like, why don't you guys just try to do it again, like in a later spot, or is that not allowed? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because in synchro, like if you try and you fit in the solo or something, and like, because we also have elements, but like you don't do it like exactly right, like you can kind of try again. I don't, it's like messy, but you know, like sometimes like with barracudas, you can like save it and then try later, like if you know that it's not going to work. But like,
that's so neat. But
I
do
don't
you,
know.
when you say you try it, do you actually go through with it and it doesn't work and then you tried it again?
Well, I don't know actually. I don't know if people have actually done that, but in swimming, but I always think about it in skating. Like, is it the same, or can you like, because if an element's like twisting 3 times, but you know that you won't be able to twist 3 times, can you like twist 2 times and then later on try again? Or is that like not a thing?
So yes and no. So there is, it depends on the element. We only have a certain amount of like jump boxes that we can fill. So back in, I guess, in the old days, or like a decades or 2 ago, they were able to, if they miss an element, they could do it and repeat it. And so now it's kind of funny to like look back at old videos of skaters and being like, it doesn't matter. Like they'll hear the commentator and be like, no worries, they'll do it later. And you're like, we're not able to do that. But we have a certain amount of, so we have 8 jumping elements. Well, now it's 7, I guess. They change the rules. I guess it's like the same with you guys. We keep slowly each year they change and adjust and try to like, but so we have only a certain amount that we can fill. So if it looks like a jump was attempted, like that box is filled. So you could repeat it later, but then the last element then is bumped out of the picture. So it also, and so like you can, for us, you know, you can mix around elements. So if you end up doing, I'll just use an example, like if we have a triple flip plan and you ended up doing a double flip, you can do a triple flip later on. Or if you do like a triple double combination and you're hoping for a triple triple, you could do, because we have three combination elements. So you could add it on to a different element that was supposed to be a triple double later, and you do a triple triple then. So there are ways to manipulate it, I guess. But as far as just like blatantly missing it, typically no, you can't just, our programs are designed because we're not allowed to repeat. It gets a little confusing because you can't repeat too many elements. We can only do a certain amount of an element, and so you want to make sure you also hit all the requirements. So if you start getting too flip-flopped around of like what you're doing, it's not it gets a little too confusing in your head as you're trying to compete. But you can manipulate it a little bit.
Let's do a last question, and I really want to work with you the expression part before we finish, before it's time. So we can have one more question. Yes, sisters?
Ooh, ask again.
We can't hear you guys.
We can't hear you.
Maybe type it.
Oh, no worries. What's the question? Yeah, write it. Drum roll. As we wait. Oh.
Yeah, as we wait. Good.
They asked, but I was just kind of curious about like how you guys like are, I guess, the cycle. It's so funny. We as skaters thinking about 2022, we're all like, obviously our heads there, but obviously you guys are first. So I didn't know how it worked. But anyways, okay. What does your normal training day consist of? Is it like an hour of ballet or just skating? Oh, great question. We do a lot of both. So as I've gotten older, as the quality of what I do gets better, the quantity of how long you do it kind of decreases a little bit. And then you're able to, so like when I was younger, I might have skated 5 hours a day, where like as you get older and your body can't handle as much, you might do 2.5, 3 hours of, pounding, on the ice and the jumps and this like working. And then the rest is, so I'll typically have about an hour and a half or 2 hours of Pilates with my trainer. And then I'll skate about an hour and 15 minutes, take a little break, skate another hour. And then I'd have strength training or strength training and cardio, or strength training and some like physical therapy exercises to like work on ankle stability and mobility and stuff. And that's typically what I'll do during the day. Yeah, so it's a mix of both. And so every week I do take ballet classes during the week and dance classes, but those are kind of scattered throughout the week. But as far as on ice, it's about 3 hours on ice a day, and another kind of 3 to 3.5 hours of off ice work, whether that's Pilates, whether that's in Pilates, strength training, cardio, a dance class. And then we do, I don't know with you guys, we do have like warm-ups and stuff. So like I'll warm up for an hour before, like off ice warm-ups and off ice jumps before I even get on the ice for the first time. So if that, I guess, counts as training, but I guess I look at it as like a warm-up.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready. Okay, so I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if this will work. So I tried I thought of 2 different things with expression. So I don't, like with skating, and obviously there's a lot with your face and your movements. I look at it like there's 3 parts to expression. There's facial expression, then that's the movement that goes with the expression, and then obviously in our sport, it's what we wear. So, you wouldn't skate to a tango and wear like a flapper dress. Like it wouldn't be like, it doesn't exactly go together. So it's like all about like the packaging and how you present yourself. It's like, that's the trifecta. So I thought like a warm up could be, I don't know if this is possible, but I'll just go right into it. But in my head, maybe you guys can try this later just for fun. If you could like type in the Zoom chat to a specific person. I tried to do it, but I don't think I can pick one person individually, but I know that you can, and that is the way. But just to try later, I thought it'd be funny and fun if you like, let's just say I wrote to Anita and I was like exhausted, but you guys didn't know that I sent her exhausted, but then you would, just by using your face, you would have to show us and we'd all have to guess, yeah, are you exhausted? And then from there, the second thing is once we got it, then you'd have to act it out. So then you'd have to use your body. Obviously, I'm not gonna make you change and like wear like pajamas or something, but like that's the concept of doing it like a movement. So okay, then the next thing that we could do, because I don't know if I could just write it in, or maybe I don't know.
Yes, you can. But you can do private chat if you yeah, in the on the chat you can, where there's everyone, and then you can choose a person.
So if I went to everyone, it says more, and it says save chat and merge to meeting.
No, like press the blue button. The blue button that says everyone.
Yeah.
Not the 3 dots.
It only shows.
You have to enable it, because I remember back in the beginning when we did Zoom, like in the beginning we could do it because I did to Abby, and then like I think I did it on accident. Like I tried again and it was like not allowed it.
It says we can only do it to like Andrea, Lara, or everyone.
Yeah, I don't think she has to enable or something.
So no worries. The other thing that I thought I just think if you want to do that in the future, I just thought that would be really cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, what I want to do, well, I'll just like get up, I guess, but I'll explain it first. What I thought we could do is like, if you take like 3, all you're doing is walking 4 steps. And like when we're competing, or when anytime you're like, and I freaking love when you guys like walk like, and do your cool walk to, like, your starting pose. I think it's so cool. And it, like, I don't know, it gets us all riled. It gets me riled up. It's so exciting. And, like, to see what's going to come. But just by taking 4 steps, I'm going to keep I'm going to do 2 different ways. First, I'm going to do it with a word, and then I'm going to do it with the scenario. So with the word, you're just like, if I said happy, like, you'd walk, and I was like, you'd be like 4 steps, and you'd be happy. Like, I was like angry, you'd like, you know, like, if you're upset and, like, irritated. But it's only 4 steps. Do it however you want. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'll tell you guys a scenario. And what I like about scenarios is that everyone can interpret it in a different way. So I could, like, give you a scenario being like seeing your mom for the first time in a month. And, like, some of you could be like, woo, you know, like, excited that you're, like, seeing your mom. And the other, like, you could also be like, ugh, it was horrible. Like, I don't want that. So, like, for me, whenever I do a program, in the back of my head, I'm always, like, thinking about, like, what the way the music makes me feel, and, like, creating a story in my brain, because it helps me then project it and emote. But, like, every story would be different. So, like, if I was going for this, like, jovial, happy feeling, and let's just say, like, ice cream makes me happy. So I'm, like, thinking, like, oh, that time when, like, I got, like, an ice cream bar. I'm like, woo! And other people can be like, oh my God, dairy makes me sick. So, like, they think of an ice cream bar, like, so it wouldn't connect. So I think, like, that, I just think that's another fun way of.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, like, put you guys up here. I think if we all just stood up, and it's just 4 steps. So 4 steps, and I think it, like, can be either way. So, like, woo! So I did, like, I'll start with, like, an easier, like, a word, and then the other one's got, I guess, like, a little more subjective, depending on how you think about it. So if you think of, like, a shy, like, you're shy, how would you walk if you were shy? So if you were doing, like, 4 steps, and everyone's different. So you can go, like, I'll just say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, we'll all walk. However you want to do shy. You can go slow, you could go fast, however you think of shy. So, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, walk. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay. And then you could do, how would you walk if you're exhausted? Okay? So, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'll walk. And, like, I want you, while you do this, I want you to use your whole body. So instead of, like, just, like, with your head, like, being exhausted, like, really, like, like, I'm so, like, use, like, it's like a struggle. Like, you know, how would you use your body? Okay? And then, okay, so the next one would be, like, judgmental. How would you, like, walk like, in a judgmental way? Like, I'd probably, like, you know, like, look people up and down. I'd, like, look and stare at people. That's, like, how I would, like, interpret it. But yeah, go for it. So, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then walk in judgmental way. Yeah! Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, now longing. Okay? And feel free to, like, really engage your whole body when you think about it. So, like, this is longing. You're longing for someone. So, okay, so, like, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and here we go. Yes! And it's so cool because you guys all, like, bring it different. Like, anytime I think of, like, longing, I think of, like, wanting. So it's, like, always, like, I'm reaching and I'm, like, pulling, or, like, I'm, like, reaching out to someone. But it's so cool to see everyone, like, doing something different, the way that, like, you could go side to side and long. Like, I always just, like, think, like, if ever I'm doing a program, like, and competing, like, and I think of, like, a longing, or, like, like, it's always, like, a reach out, like an emotional, like, push and pull. So yeah, okay. The next one, okay, how would you guys walk if you're super focused? So, like, this can be, like, if you're, like, walking into an event, like, no one can distract you, like, how would you go in, game face, super focused, no one's gonna get in my way. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and walk. Yes! Yeah! Okay, one more time. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and walk. Yeah! Yeah. What?
No, I was just excited. That's all.
I love it. And like what I think is so fun with this, like I was telling Andrea before, like I do a lot of this in front of a mirror, which kind of sounds a little crazy, but it helps me to like understand like what people are seeing when I do something. So like one of the things I've done a lot during this period of time that I'm off the ice is like, you know, if I learn a dance, like I'll look and record it and see myself doing it over and over and over and over again. Just so it's like, I think, you know, it's like one of those, it's like how people talk about like realistic versus, or like what's in your head versus like what's real. And like, so there could be a time where you're like, I think I'm like, you know, jamming out and look so good. And I'm like this. And then like, you look at it and you're like, oh my God, you look ridiculous. You know, like it's not, you know, matching up. So like it's always like when someone's like, oh my gosh, like, you know, like RBF, like resting bitch face. Like someone could look at you and be like, oh my God, that person looks like they're miserable and they're hating what they're doing. But in reality, that person's like, I was having the best time of my life. And so like, we don't have the option in our sport to like not match them up. So like anything that like we project, like facially or like with our body, and that's what they're going to receive and that's what they're going to take from us. Like we have no other kind of modes of expression. Like they're not hearing us talk. They're not, you know, everything that we do, the judges are literally judging you by what you're giving them and like kind of the feelings that you're kind of presenting. So like if you think you look super focused and like, so like the next word I'll do is distracted. So like if you're like, you know, like if the judges are sitting there and you're like, I'm super focused, but you're also like looking all over the place, your coach will pick up like, oh my God, is she nervous? Like, oh my God, is she okay? Like, are they like, is there contact? Did their contact fall off? Like, you know, are they missing their nose piece? Like, I don't know, like always like kind of the nerve wracking like parts. Okay. So we'll do distracted next. So like, how would you like walk if you're distracted? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll walk. Yeah. Yeah. So like all different ways. Okay. Then the next thing, because I know we're like running out of time, I'm going to give you scenarios. Okay. So everyone can react in a different way. So like the first one is just like, how would you act if you're walking on a tightrope? And this, I want to go from all with the body, but also your face. Like no one, I can't say no one, maybe the best people. No one's like on a tightrope being like, yay, I'm on a tightrope. You know, like, woohoo! Like I would be terrified out of my mind. Like shaking, like looking, like my face would like attached with walking on a tightrope. I think of like, I'm afraid of heights. So for me, like I go to straight terror. Like, oh my gosh, absolutely not. Like this sounds like the worst thing. So like, but I guess for you guys, maybe you like, or any of like, maybe you guys love it. And you're like, walking on a tightrope. I don't know. So yeah, so we'll do that one first. So here we go. We'll just take the next like 8 seconds to like play with it. So here we go in 5, 6, 7, 8, and go. Woo! Yeah! Yeah. Guys, that's so good. Okay, the next one we'll do. Okay, what if you ate something sour? Maybe some of you guys love it and like, but I couldn't. I'd be like, oh. You know, like it makes your body cringe, for me, at least. Like, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, standing on the edge of a cliff. How would you guys act on the edge of a cliff? Maybe you guys love heights. Like I said, I hate them. Like I'd be like, and it's more just like pantomiming here. Yeah. Yes. Okay. How would you act if you dropped your favorite plate of food? And you're like so excited and then it like fell to the ground and you're like, no. And I want you to get into it. Like if you fall, like if this would be something like would fall and you'd be like, no, like no. and you're trying to like pick it up, like go for it. But if you're just like, you could also be the type of person that like, ew, it fell on the floor. No. Like, I'm done with it. So like, it's totally like whatever you would do, like get really into it. Like imagine it, kind of visualize it, like how you'd react. Yes! Yeah! Okay, so how would you guys act if you saw someone attractive? So someone that you found like interesting, not cute, like cute, attractive, hot, whatever, sexy. Like how would you be the type of person to be like, oh my gosh, but like kind of like walk away like I can't, like I'm not ready for this? Or would you be like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm coming at you. Like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Like some people are super outgoing and I like am jealous of those people. I'm the type of person that'd be like, okay. Like, do you see that person? Cool. Okay, I'm gonna like hide behind a plant. I'm not gonna lie, I hid behind like 7 plants at the Olympics. When I was there, like I was famous with my team for like being that type of person. Like we'll meet someone and the whole team will be there and like they'll be like, where did Jason go? And I'm just like hiding, like because I can't. Yeah. I've grown out of that phase, I think. But at that time, I just like couldn't deal with it. So yeah, so that'll be the next one. So how would you guys walk or how would you act if you saw someone who was super attractive? Maybe you looked them up and down. Or maybe you're just like, try to be cool, but like can't be cool. Or maybe you get giddy. Yeah. Okay, last 2. How would you guys ask if someone said something super offensive? Like, or you got like really offended by someone. Like, what did you just say? Like, excuse me? Like, how would you, would you tell them off? Would you go and like, go full, batshit crazy? Or would you be like rude and walk away? Totally, however you guys think you would go. Yeah! Oh my gosh! Okay, what would you guys act if you won an Olympic medal? So like, what's the reaction there? Are you like, yes? Are you jumping up and down? Are you like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna play cool. I did this. I deserved it. I'm the best, obviously. So like, I should have won. So yeah. Or like, how would you, or would you just be like, oh my gosh? Or would you be crying? Like, just be like, are you a fist pumper? Would you be like crying and just like need a moment to yourself to like feel it out? Like totally. Yeah. Like, what would you be like? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You guys are amazing. Oh my gosh. But
funny. Okay, let's make this happen, no? This last expression. One day.
Yes. Okay. Guys, we can make it a reality. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, Jason, when do you know if you will be in the next Olympics? Like 3 weeks before as well, or you will know before?
3 weeks before.
Really? Okay.
So we find out. So for us, we like gain our like spots for our country at the Worlds before.
Okay.
So like we'll get like up to 3 spots for Worlds that we can get. And then
yeah. the athlete.
And then after that whole year at nationals, so they don't call it an Olympic trials for us because there's still a selections committee that decides the team. So it's not like nationals is the end all be all, but it's the last event before they kind of select the team. And so typically they go, but it's it can be scattered because like what we said, they try not to base it off of one event.
Okay.
And they're trying, I think, I don't know about with you guys and like kind of peaking and stuff. It's hard with kind of pushing athletes to be like, you need to be at the best shape at nationals, but then you have to peak again 3-4 weeks later for the Olympics. And you're like, huh? Like, how do you kind of manage it? Yeah. So I think they're trying to kind of work on that as well for us. But yes.
Well, we can meet again, no? Before it happens?
Yeah.
Okay. Jason, do you want to join the Argentina dance?
I'm in. I'm so down.
Okay. Because they are waiting already here, so I opened the waiting room for everybody. Okay. And we are doing like it's the whole American continent countries. Okay.
Oh my god, I feel so lucky, you guys. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I love you.
Incredible. Thank you.
Oh
You're the coolest person ever.
Oh,
yeah. No, but
you guys are amazing.
there's no more calls, Jason.
I would love it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
do you guys have to re-qualify for the games? Like, do you have to like?
In March we have the qualifiers first week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna be cheering and cheering and cheering.
Yes, let's go.
Us too in your last 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, I opened the waiting room, okay?
Okay.